All right, chapter 3 of The Giver. So we learned about a baby boy coming to live with Jonas and Lily and their mom and dad. This young boy is actually somebody that their father noticed was having a difficult time developing. There was talk of this young boy being released, so Dad decided to bring it home to sleep at the family dwelling. So the baby comes into the house, and the first thing Lily notices in this baby is the unusual eye color. The eye color is unusual, and it's similar to Jonas's eyes. The chapter describes both Jonas and the baby's eyes as being very pale. In the community, dark eyes are the most common, but there are exceptions like those of Jonas and of a female 5. Jonas does not like the fact that Lily has mentioned his eyes. No one mentions such things. It is not a rule, but it is considered rude to call attention to things that are unsettling or different about individuals. As he looks into the new child's eyes, however, Jonas feels like he is looking at a mirror, which is rare. There is quality of depth in the children's pale eyes. So in chapter 3, the author begins to emphasize an important part of a person's body in this book, and that is the eyes. We know that Jonas and this new baby, who is not going to be a permanent part of the family, but is staying the night. We notice that Jonas and this young baby, whose name is going to be Gabriel, have the same eyes. Most people only have brown eyes in this particular community. However, there is Jonas, now this baby, and a female who I believe was a 5. So, interesting thing to keep in mind. Dark eyes are the most common. Jonas, the baby, and another person have pale eyes. Excited about the new young visitor, Lily exclaims that she would like to be a birth mother. Mother tells her sharply that there is very little honor in being a birth mother. A birth mother gives 3 births for 3 years, after which she becomes a mere laborer. Father suggests to Lily that she should think about being a nurturer like himself instead of being a birth mother. Jonas thinks to himself that Lily is never quiet. She is like the speakers in the community. He remembers the time when there was an announcement made specifically at him. Although his name had not been mentioned, the message had clearly been intended for him. During recreation, Jonas and Asher had been playing catch with an apple, which was not an unusual recreational activity. But Jonas noticed that the apple had changed suddenly, not in size or shape, but in a different way. It changed a total of 4 times. Confused, Jonas had taken the apple home, despite rules that say you can't do so. Soon, an announcement was made through the speakers, reminding male 11s that objects were not to be taken from the recreation area. Although the announcement had been made to all male 11s, Jonas knew that at the time it had been directed at him. So right here is another example of something going on with Jonas's eyes. We know that they're pale. We now know of a time a while back where he and Asher, his friend, were playing catch with an apple, and Jonas noticed that something weird was happening when the apple was in the air. Something that was very unusual. In fact, so unusual that as they were playing catch, Asher did not notice anything different about the apple. Jonas was very confused, so he ended up taking the apple home. It seemed to kind of, move differently. It did not have a typical movement to it. Very strange thing. So in chapter 3, we learn about eyes and the paleness that Jonas's are and the paleness of this new baby. And that is something that is very strange and something that we want to kind of pay attention to in chapter 3 because it does play a pretty significant role later on in the story. So the pale eyes, very big part of this. Gabriel has pale eyes just like Jonas. And the other thing with the apple in this one was he was playing catch. There was an announcement made a few months ago, but the apple seemed to change in Jonas's eyes as it traveled in the air. And Asher, who he was playing catch with, did not notice anything different about it. So that is the end of chapter 3.